хаглаад оргоо дутаагаа гараад явсан. Ард түмэн бол ард нь тангадаг нь тангаж өлсдөг нь өлсдөг гэсэн эцнээ нэг ард түмнийг ингэж төвдөлсөн ийм нэг хар жанжин гэдэг хүн байж гинэ. Энэ бол хотоор нь баг эцнээ хүнийг дүүргэж ингэж хотоор нь дүүрэн их чөтгөр босгосон ийм нэг хүн байж гинэ.
The legend didn't end there. One day, Batia's great enemy appeared before the castle wall. It was the ruler of the northern Mongols, Genghis Khan. Batia led his soldiers out towards the mountains to the east. 3 times they fought the enemy, and 3 times the battle remained undecided. So Batia returned to the castle and made ready for a siege. Time after time, the castle walls were attacked, but no impression could be made on them. Batia's soldiers broke up their millstones and made missiles of them to throw at the enemy. Many of the attacking Mongols were in confusion. Then Genghis Khan thought of a plan. "Dam the river which passes the castle," he cried. They brought sand in carts and changed the course of the river to the west. Seeing that his people were dying of thirst, Batia told them to dig a well inside the castle walls. They dug in the west corner of the courtyard to a depth of 240 meters or 800 feet. But they couldn't find a drop of water. Now Batia knew that the end was near. First, he threw all his treasures into the well. Then he killed his wife and all his children with his own hands, so they should not fall into the power of the enemy. Then he and his soldiers sallied forth for their final charge. Still cursing his enemy, Batia now breathed his last. After the castle had fallen, Genghis Khan and his soldiers searched it for the treasure, but all in vain. No one ever saw it again. All they ever found was a big serpent with glittering scales, which people say was a malevolent spirit, the ghost of Batia. With the first rays of the morning sun, we rose and went into the castle. We were its first visitors for half a century. It's shaped like an irregular square, 440 meters from east to west and 370 meters from north to south. There are gateways on both the east and the west sides. The interior of the castle was something like a small town. Everywhere you look, you can see traces of buildings, and there are ruins of large temples. It's obvious that the people were devout Buddhists. The castle walls were 9 meters high, or 30 feet, built of rammed earth. If you stand on one of the ramparts, you're buffeted by the strong wind. The stupa is in the northwest corner. More than 18 meters high, or 50 feet, it dominates the castle. It is said to be a perfect example of Tibetan-style architecture. Outside the castle wall, on the eastern side, you can still see traces of a road. Heralded by the tinkling of the camel bells, many caravans must have passed along this road near the castle. When you enter the eastern gate, the first thing you see is a temple. It's easy to imagine how priests and soldiers must have passed back and forth, greeting each other in their Xixian language. Today, there's nothing left but bits of broken tile. The Japanese archaeologist who came with us was very excited. He'd never expected to see so many ancient relics just lying on the ground. Among the rubble, there are many pieces of tile, some rounded roof tiles, others flat for use as flooring. The archaeologists told us that they showed that the ruin was of a Buddhist temple and that the architecture had been influenced by the Chinese. This green glazed piece was obviously part of a finial or ridge end. This tile was in the form of a demon whose job was to guard the temple against evil spirits. The temple, with its pottery tiles and ornamental Chinese-style roof, and with its white-plastered walls, must have sparkled in the sunlight like a jewel. You can see other architectural influences at work as well as Chinese. Tangut, Uyghur, and many other tribesmen must all have lived together here. It seems that the northern part of the castle courtyard was reserved for temples and offices, and the southern part for the houses of the ordinary people. For in the southern half, there's no sign of any tiles or even plaster. The space inside the ruins could have included a marketplace and a courtyard for the caravans of the traders. The ordinary people's houses must have been made of sun-baked brick, with wooden cross beams supporting a clay roof.